drugs. He offered them his heart. He never saw the danger and they tore his world apart. A band of misfits did him in with blades of stainless steel. The surgeon did the rest and passed his organs on to heal. His liver was passed to a sailor who had admired him from afar. His heart went to Portugal to a man who tended bar. His eyes sold on eBay for a record fee, and his music was so good it was Spotified for free. But his soul could not be extracted, so it had to be redacted. It was bundled up in swaddling cloth and buried out at sea. The soul slept with the fishes, and it had no memory. It had forgotten its past life, the trials and the treachery. It was caught by a fisherman who had cast his line so deep. When the man pulled it out, the soul awakened from its sleep. Now the fisherman had a wife. Her name was Georgie Lee. She was a raven-haired beauty and she sparkled like the sea. Georgie Lee, oh Georgie Lee, your hair, your face, your eyes. You are a priceless perfection, so tender, warm and wise. When he offered her his catch, her eyes they danced with glee. She placed the soul inside a jar, never to be free. Most mornings they would sit down for conversation, cake and tea. They spoke of worldly matters and the importance of antiquity. In the early spring one day, as the talk turned to politics, Georgie Lee was extrapolating her theory that all politicians were narcissists. As she waved her hands around, she smashed the jar onto the ground. Shattered glass, you may well ask, had set the spirit free. Freedom, sweet freedom, the soul cried out aloud, as it searched for a body to own who would do its thinking proud. When it saw a snake, it entered its existence, but it seemed the snake didn't like the soul. It offered up resistance. It briefly entered a wolf, but couldn't stand the pack mentality. And then it spied a skinny man who was walking by the sea. Meanwhile, Georgie Lee was beside herself. She had driven away her greatest pleasure. She vowed she would find her soul, even if the search took forever. The soul settled with the skinny man who traded in futility. He was a content provider and a web designer who had a cottage by the sea. The soul happily moved right in, providing comfort and support, and once more enjoyed a laugh or two and an occasional snort. Sadly, the bond hit savage seas, the union hit the rocks. So he asked the soul to find another vessel, and the soul went into shock. The man worked rather quickly then and put the soul once more inside a jar and placed it on a windowsill that could be seen from near and far. Georgie Lee had walked for months as she searched from town to town. when suddenly her intuition told her that the soul was somewhere close around. She scanned the horizon and saw a cottage by the sea, and there, sitting in the evening sun, was a jar full of light and possibility. Georgie Lee knocked on the door, and when the man he answered, she offered him her winning smile and seduced him on the canvas. When the deed was done and they'd had their fun, the man he fell asleep. She moved quickly to pick up her soul and take it home to keep. Now the soul recognised the love she felt and went along quite willingly, happy to share her musings with the wonderful Georgie Lee. Georgie Lee, oh Georgie Lee, your hair, your face, your eyes, you are a priceless perfection, so tender, warm and wise. Georgie Lee, she realised she couldn't tame this spirit, so she freed the soul and offered it a chance to leave that very minute. But by now the soul had seen so much, its journey at an end. It agreed to stay with Georgie Lee, and they became the best of friends. They spent their days singing Beatles songs and watching the calming sea, so happy to have settled with perfect company. Georgie Lee, oh Georgie Lee, your hair, your face, your eyes, you are a priceless perfection, so tender, warm and wise.